Welcome to episode 7 of Rough Draft. My name is John Comey. With me so far, again, as always, Scott Guessford. Scott, how are you?
Good, John. I know you've had kind of a rough day, and
Mm,
I understand how that
yeah,
goes.
it's been a day. Just a little behind the scenes stuff. I never do a second take, and this is take 2 today because I read off the snapshot, which I'm about to do in 1 second, of what the MLB Pro looks like, and I was like, "Well, I'm doing it as of yesterday because we're doing this a day late." And I read the standings as of the end of yesterday, not realizing that they are the standings of today. So I'm doing end of day for May 7th. So going into what would have been yesterday. Anyway, AL East, Blue Jays 23-11, game and a half up on the Rays, 5 up on the Orioles, who are moving up quickly. In the Central, the Twins are 22-13, 1.5 up on the Tigers, 6 up on the Royals. In the West, the Angels own the league's best record at 25-10. They are 4.5 up on the Mariners, 6 up on the A's, and 6.5 up on the Astros, who have been surging as of late. In the National League East, the Braves own the NL's best record, 25-11. They're 4.5 up on the Marlins and the Phillies, 5 up on the surging Nats. In the Central, Cardinals are 18-17. They're a half game up on the Brewers and 2 up on the Reds. And in the NL West, Rockies and Dodgers are tied 21-14. I know by the time you hear this, those won't be the standings, but I'm trying to keep it to Mondays, just to keep that thing going, even though we won't remember it in a week anyway. All right, Scott, we're up for the main draft. You had the first pick, and who did you take?
I took Addison Reed was back closing in Kansas City, and then later on in the evening, he's on waivers. So I brought up Addison Reed, and he went back into the closer role for seemingly one game, and now he's on the waiver wire. So if you're interested in Addison Reed and his $5.5 million contract, I guess just make a claim for him.
Yeah. So the reason he is back in the closer role is because he blew another save opportunity. His only his second blown save of the year. So it's not like he's had many opportunities, but
Right.
anytime that he has had a chance to impact a game late, he has most definitely impacted a game. This one, he gave up 4 hits in an inning, 2 earned runs in a 3-2 loss to the A's. And those who don't learn from history are doomed to repeat it, right?
That's right. Well, the A's appreciate him being in the closer role for one more game.
Oh yeah. I mean, now it's looking like he's in the setup role. Um, just remember, uh, you know, he's there on a sizable contract through 2025. On an extension that got signed prior to this season. Or no, prior to last season. I'm going to apologize. Prior to last season, 4 years, 22 million. We've talked about him ad nauseum. Like, we don't have to go too deep on him right now, but his stats.
Nope.
So the Royals, they're 16-19, correct? Is that where they're at?
Yeah.
17-19. They're 17-19 in games where Addison Reed does not have a decision. They are 17-12. So, and he actually hasn't even been that bad. He is just, I mean, the 393 BABIP is bad. That's bad. But he hasn't even been that terrible. But he just is just closer death to the Royals. Is there anything else you want to add about Reed before we move on?
Nope, I'm good on Reed.
All right. So my first round pick. Hey, Cleveland's playing well. Trying to talk about some teams that we haven't talked about, and Cleveland definitely deserves some recognition here. They're coming in today 15-20, having beat the Tigers last night 3-1, and then seeing owners GM Jim Melkar just be apoplectic that the Guardians would beat the Tigers. You know, like there's there we go. What did they do? Did they play them last month? They did. And guess what they did last month in Detroit? They took 2 out of 3 from them.
Yeah.
So far on the season, Cleveland is 3-1 against Detroit, and Detroit's playing really well right now. But Cleveland owns them. I mean, let's just play that what it is. So their offense is still terrible. They're 13th in runs scored. They're still 13th in runs against, and they're 15th in starters ERA. But they are finding ways to win games, and their offense has picked up. Jazz Chisholm's playing really well. Alec Thomas, the former Ray prospect who came over for Cade Cahill, he's playing really well right now. 284, 320, 397. He's outplaying Cade Cahill at the moment. Chris Betts is playing well. Jorge Ayala is playing really well right now. 991 OPS, 172 OPS plus, 9 homers, 27 RBIs. He's having so far like his best year ever. What do you make of the Guardians? And obviously it's probably not sustainable, but they have the pieces to progress in a somewhat weak AL Central.
Well, they're 7-9 at home, so they're not like terrible at home. Well, they're 8-11 on the road, which isn't horrible either. Sometimes teams, you just get in a groove and you cruise for a little bit, and maybe Detroit is their feasting team for this year. Now, this weekend they have 3 against the Angels, so we'll see how they do against them. But I enjoy watching these teams that we kind of disregard.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to say disregard, but like we can only get to so many teams each week, and it can be, there are some teams that can slide under the radar when there's only so much space, and Cleveland definitely deserves to be talked about. When they play the Angels, they're gonna be thrown to 3-4-5. So Davis Mills, Ben Camp, and Gabriel Guerrero. Mills has had a good year so far. Camp and Guerrero not so much. I really should have considered the Angels Guardian series for this weekend. But there's obviously some sexier series.
And
so
when I said we, I didn't necessarily just mean you and I kind of mean the MLB Pro universe as a whole. They've kind of dismissed Cleveland as any kind of team to reckon with this year.
Oh, well, I mean, for the first half of April, they were the worst team in baseball, and it wasn't even close. And since then, they've played winning baseball. And so they deserve some recognition. All right. I think, is there anything else you want to talk about Cleveland before we move on?
No, I think I'll be interested to see what they end up doing with some of their veterans. Are they going to trade them? Are they going to keep them? We'll see what happens down the road.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's coming, but that's another conversation for another time. Your second round pick, go ahead.
My second round pick is, do you consider Taylor Sparks, now that he's in the 3-hole, a Triple Crown threat?
Yes.
He's first in average, tied for second in homers, second in RBIs in the National League right now.
Oh yeah, I mean, and him hitting third. I mean, he's hitting 381, 444, 778 out of the 3-hole. I mean, he's just ripping it all across the board. But in the 3-hole especially, he has been absolutely mashing. He's only hit third, fourth, or fifth this season. Where he's done his most damage, looking at this, I don't know how medium leverage gets defined. I really don't. Like, I'm guessing it's like middle innings.
Or when the
Oh,
game's not on the line in the late innings, I don't know either.
yeah. So in medium leverage situations, he's hitting this is in 52 plate appearances, 565, 615, 1.109 slugging percentage. He has had an OPS of 1.724, which is insane. I mean, that's insane to me. Um, in high leverage, he's hitting 278, 308, 818 on the slugging. He's got 2 homers, 7 RBIs in 13 plate appearances. So maybe avoid pitching to him in the middle of a game. I mean, I don't
Maybe
know.
avoid pitching to him at all.
Well, I mean, yeah, probably because he is just having the year of years. Um, even like with stuff like 2 outs. With 2 outs, he's seeing 310, 383, 476. Innings 7 and 9. So 7th inning or later, he's hitting 382, 488, 588 in the middle innings, which could again correspond to that medium leverage. 391, 451, 652. Like there isn't a time. Close and late situations. This is the other one. 421, 542, 579 in 24 plate appearances. There's not a time in the game where he is not crushing the ball.
No, and with Oshiashi hitting behind him, who is batting 195, 264 on base percentage, why pitch to start Sparks at all?
Oh, absolutely. Like I'm waiting for uh them to move Miller Thomas up to the 4 hole. And maybe Oyashi down to like the 5 or the 6 hole. I'm waiting for that to happen. I mean, it hasn't happened so far. I mean, they haven't had a necessity to make that happen. But when you have the 2 hottest hitters in the league, and Thomas leads the league in home runs right now with 12, when you want them hitting back to back, especially with Thomas being a switch hitter, like I feel like that's a smart play. I mean, I don't know what Thomas is hitting in the 4 hole. If he's hit 4th, yeah, he has. He's hit 4th. Yeah, okay. He's hit 16 plate appearances, really small sample size. 571, 625, 1.500 slugging percentage. His OPS is 2.125 hitting in the 4 hole. Move the man. Just move him. Like you're not going to hurt your lineup.
I think Brenton is going, hey, we're 25 and 11. We got a 4.5 game lead. Why should I mess with success?
Because your lineup could be even more streamlined. I mean, that's just my take. Like if you could do that and you have it proven where the guys are doing the thing where you may want them to do the thing.
Or would you rather move Oshiashi up to number 3 and see if having Sparks behind him wakes him up?
No. Nope. I'd move him to 5th. Because he's going, because then you're going to put, presumably if you pitch around those 2, then you're going to get Oeyashi with runners on base. And I want that, where he's hitting 333, 375, 800 with runners in scoring position. I would want that. And so, no, I'd move him to 5th and just let him sort things out. Put him at 3rd, where he's going to see tougher at bats because you're going to want to get him out and not face Sparks. I wouldn't go that route, but that's just me. But yeah, Sparks is Triple Crown contender easily.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to see what Sparks signs for this offseason.
Yeah, I mean, allegedly he's still on the trading block, and that's a conversation for another day. Is should he still be on the trading block? But my 2nd round pick, Nats are doing Nats things again. So there we go. So Washington was kind of an also ran during the month of April. They were 13-13. They were 14-13 overall at the end of April. Now they're up to 19-16, and they're starting to look a little frisky. Now, this is a team who last year was leading the NL East heading into September, if I remember correctly, and then completely cratered. I mean, just completely fell off the face of the earth while the Phillies stormed into winning the NL East. And you kind of wondered, like, was that a fluky thing? Maybe it just be that this team is super streaky. I mean, their offense is performing really well right now. Their
Yeah.
pitching, um, like their pitching
So-so.
hasn't been great. No, it's fine. Their pitching hasn't been great, but their FIP is second in the league and they're second in pitching WAR. So like their guys are being productive. Um, and maybe they're starting to round in the form. And what do you make of the Nats right now? And are they a team to be reckoned with in the East, knowing how good the Braves and Phillies and the Marlins so far are?
Yeah, I think they always have a shot. I mean, especially if their bats can continue and their pitching can pick up a little bit. They're on a stretch right here. I mean, I know they lost to the Giants yesterday, 12-2, but they have two more in San Francisco. Then they come home for four against the Mets before they go back to Miami. So they have a chance here to continue being hot and to move forward with the team and get closer to in the race.
Yeah, I mean, the one thing that I think had, I mean, among other things, Ed Palmer really kind of getting himself back together. I mean, he hit 222, 300, 420 in April, but those numbers, like they got pulled up over the course of the season. Like he was dreadful for a while. Um, you know, towards the middle of the month. I mean, he just couldn't buy a hit. Like he would go through stretches. I mean, his average has like he was hitting 230 on April 23rd, April 25th. On April 25th, he was hitting 230, 305, 405. He's up to 246, 306, 421. Like he it's not great, but he's starting the round back in the form, which is kind of indicative of the Nats.
Right. So let me ask you this though. Matthew Grace, who's a highly regarded prospect, he's struggling this year in 8 games and 6 at bats at the major league level. Do you keep him up at the major league level? I know he's killing AAA ball, but if you're not going to play him every day, do you just want him sitting on the bench?
Oh no, if he's like so right now you have Cannon Miles DHing 333, 404, 357. That's fine. That's fine.
Right.
And you got Lauren Rogers at first base. He's hitting 264, 331, 434. He's been a league. His OPS plus is 104, so he's just above league average, but he's doing what he does, which is he's good for about 20 home runs. You know, he's going to be in that 260 range. If you're not going to get Grace at bats, uh, send him down and get him regular at bats until you are ready to hand him a job. Uh,
Right.
you know, when was the last time Grace played? And then we're gonna move on here. Okay, so he has been playing.
Yesterday.
He has been playing more lately, so maybe that's
Hmm.
what it is. Where he has been playing more lately, and now I wish I hadn't even gone down this road. Like I think it looks like he is getting at bats, but he's not in the regular lineup on their homepage. And but if there's a situation where like you're not going to play him, like you have to let that ride and just let him play. And whatever issues he's working through, you got to let him work through it. Unless you have somebody who's going to fill that spot immediately and can get him back down to get more bats. So yeah. But I would be playing him every day. All right. We good on the Nats?
Yep, I'm good on the Nats.
All right. Let's go across the beltway. You've got your third pick.
Yeah, my third round pick is Julio Rodriguez What in the world is Baltimore doing with him still at A plus ball on his 22 age year?
Yeah, we talked about this in the season preview, even though I don't think we
Yep.
intended to. So he's in his third season of pro ball, but that comes with a caveat. So he only played in 11 games in 2021. He only played in 65 games last year, 400 or 233 plate appearances. Trying to see if that came with an injury or if he was in short season A ball. Uh, Injury history. No, no, no there, but he was injured on April 17th of this year for 3 weeks. So he's only just getting going. And maybe that's what it is. But he's the number 2 prospect in baseball. He is looking pretty fully fleshed out.
Yeah.
He's got a 159 OPS plus in A plus ball right now. Probably shouldn't be an A plus ball.
No, exactly. And do you do more harm to a guy by keeping him down? I know he was an international free agent signing back in 2018, and he just started rookie ball, would you say in 2021? I mean, I just don't get how he hasn't had more at bats in 2021 and 2022.
Well, I mean, A ball, he probably came up pretty late. That's probably like when I mean his birthday is December 29th. He probably came up and got into their complex late to play rookie ball. He had an OPS plus of 8, which is that's really hard to pull off.
Right.
Um, but the thing is, he had a 138 OPS plus last year. And you trust your scouts. You say like he is much further along in his development than A ball would warrant. And so, I would be challenging him at least in double A right now, probably in just double A and
Yeah.
see what he does. Because at the very least, and the Orioles are I really think they're a contender. I'm not going to get off the Orioles are not a contender thing. They're too good. They're too talented. And I can see where J-Rob would be blocked at the big league level. So putting him in A ball not only kind of hurts, potentially hurt his development, but it also hurts in terms of him as a potential trade chip. And that's where I'm like, maybe it works out. I think we saw that was something that had happened before with a player. I mean, Hunter Bishop made the move from double A this year, and he continues to perform really well, contrary to what you believed a few episodes back. Um, there was somebody who came up and did that, and maybe they think that they can do it with J-Rod. I don't know. It's not what I would do, but if they have a system and it's working, though I will say this, and then I'm gonna move on. Antonio Guzman, he's hit under 200. Oh my God. He's hit under 200 3 years this is the third straight season where he's hit at best 193. He's and I don't know how. I don't understand how. He is he's talented. But he's at OPS pluses of 66, 65, 59. Couldn't J-Rod just take his spot and do better already? I mean, I don't know.
Or at least that well, right? I mean, not going to hurt you.
Well, I wouldn't have him up there if he's doing that well. I wouldn't bring J-Rod up, but I would be looking at Guzman and be like, that's we could upgrade that spot, and maybe we get J-Rod on the short track towards doing that.
Yeah, see, I would have J Rod at least in double A. Let him stay there for a couple months, see how he's doing. And, like you said, challenge him. He's getting 22. If you want him up at 23, 24, you need to start pushing him a little bit.
Right. Right. So that's what I would do as well. All right. My last pick is Clayton Kershaw's on the verge of history. So Clayton Kershaw is one strikeout away from number 2,500, which would be the first player in league history to reach 2,500 strikeouts. And he is pretty well ahead of the pace. So strikeouts, there we go. So he's on 2,499. Steven Strasburg is second on this list at 2,384. Then Tim Lincecum at 2,288. Zach Greinke at 2,115, and then Danny Holtzen at 2,091. Kershaw's also 5 wins away from 150 for his career. He is second all time in wins. Danny Holtzen is number 1 on that list at 153. He came into the year with 150. Then Nathan Eovaldi at 143, Felix Hernandez at 141, and Tim Lincecum at 138. So do you think, and Kershaw's pitching really well this year, actually his best,
Yeah.
so far his best season since 2000, not even, since 2021. 4-2, 3.05 ERA, 1.17 WHIP, 136 ERA plus. I know he did pitch really well last year in Toronto, 168 ERA plus. I'm looking really at WHIP and like peripheral numbers. How long do you think Kershaw could be at the top of his game, and how many strikeouts do you think he'll get before it's all said and done?
Well, the way he's pitching makes me believe he can just continue on for the next 2 or 3 years. So I can see him getting over 3,000 strikeouts, especially if he stays healthy in a Toronto uniform, because Mitch is just going to keep throwing him out there every 5th day. So there's no reason to think that he's going to stop this anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at his scouting reports, he has regressed some since 2021, but he's 35 for crying out loud. Like, that's to be expected.
Right.
He turns, he is in his age 35 year. He doesn't turn 36 until spring training of next year. He has 2 more seasons left. So let me go back. So he's making 25 million this season, 15 million next season. He's already signed an extension. So he's got 2 years and 40 million left on this deal, with the Cardinals paying 50%. Then he has signed an extension through 2026, 2 years, 50 million. It seems like he will age well. I think the issue will be, what does Toronto look like next year when they can't run it back? And if there's regression in that lineup, and I mean, his numbers may start looking worse if the defense gets worse. I mean, defense isn't great now, but if he's keeping teams to a hit an inning and striking out guy an inning, I mean, yeah, he's phenomenal. Do you think he's the best pitcher in MLB Pro history to this point?
That is close, I think, with Holtzen and Eovaldi, both in LA. I think that they are up there with them, but Kershaw's, set the pathway for pitchers here. I might not have signed Kershaw, me personally, might not have signed Kershaw to a 2-year extension already. I may have waited to next year, because I think you can probably still get him at 25 million for those 2 years and not be stuck with it in case he gets an injury, or like you said, you can't keep that lineup around him.
Yeah, if Toronto regresses, him at 15 million as a trade asset is a lot better than him at $65 million. Just
Right.
yeah, over 3 years. Just one more tidbit and then we'll move on. So looking at pitching WAR for career, Kershaw is number 1 at 61.19 WAR. Hultzen is second at 51.54 WAR. Both have been in the league since its inception. Steven Strasburg is third at 50.23. They're the only three over 50. So if you go by WAR, Kershaw has run laps around those guys.
Yeah, and
But
career ERA of 2.97, a 134 ERA plus over his career. Pretty
yeah,
impressive.
oh yeah. So yeah, but when is his next start? He has come on. Oh, there we go. So he last
Not
pitched on the 3rd. That should be tonight. His next start should be tonight.
tomorrow,
Oh, it's gonna be
because
tomorrow?
they had a day off.
Oh yeah.
Chapman's scheduled for tonight.
Okay. Okay. So I don't know who they're playing. Um
They are playing the Phillies in Philly.
oh well then there you go. So Kershaw likely going to get strikeout 2,500 tomorrow. I'll be curious to see who it's against. If I had to wager, and then we're definitely gonna move on. If I had to wager, um, it would be against I would say Charlie Harper first at bat. First at
I
bat.
was gonna say the same thing.
Yeah. Harper's strikeout rates aren't particularly great. 33 strikeouts and 149 plate appearances. You're striking out over 1 in every 5 at bats. Yeah, I would take Harper to strike out to lead off the game and get him 2,500. All right. We got a quick who won the trade. So there was one trade. I know there was a trade that went through today. It's not gonna be in this episode. We'll do it next episode. But there was a
Right.
trade. Cubs Pirates. The Cubs traded Yordan Alvarez to Pittsburgh for 5 prospects led by Drew Jones and Marte. What's his Novalty Marte, which I know I'm botching that. I'm gonna look it up. So who do you think won this trade?
I think Pittsburgh won the trade hand down. I mean, we talked about it, or did I talk about it with the anonymous GM last week? Alvarez has 3 or 4 years of control left in him, and I think he's far superior to the prospects. A couple of them were in the top 100, but I still think Alvarez is by far the best player in this trade.
Yeah. So it's Noelvi Marte, Kobe Mayo, Harrison Bailey, and Jordan Hudson, along with Drew Jones. Drew Jones could be a game changer here. I mean, he's in his first season. He was a first round pick, number 26 overall last year. He's hitting 296, 378, 398 in his first 30 games. He is already in the top 100 prospects, which doesn't always happen, especially for a back of the round, first round pick. He's got all the tools, and depending on how he shakes out, could really shift the balance here. But in the end, I mean, the Pirates were kind of in this thing of like they have this interesting little core right now, and it's starting to play pretty well. And maybe you can build into that core. The NL Central is ripe for the picking because there isn't a good team in that division, not a single good team. There are some average teams, but I mean, I'll say it, the Pirates could win the division this year. That's how
Ooh.
average the NL Central is. I don't think they will, but they could. They absolutely could.
I really like what Jonathan is doing with the Pirates.
And the thing you get when you get somebody like Jordan who's 25, they have again, their core is in that age range. So Stanford Samuels, Mason Merle, Jonathan then got traded, whatever. But Jordan Groshans, um, you know, they are all in that age range where, okay, Drew Jones is 3 years away. So he comes up at 22. Well, a lot of these guys, like there's different timelines. And if you kind of get that thing of like, you know, your cores are kind of messed up, or like, the timelines are a little bit off, you're having to worry about free agency with like some of your core while trying to get some of these rookies some run and like make them part of the core. And it can be really clunky. So trading some of that to get a proven bat in Jordan Alvarez, that's a win. That's a win. That's a win. I like the
Yep.
prospects the Cubs got. I like Jordan in Pittsburgh more than I like what the Cubs got. Now, we look at this back in 10 years, Andrew Jones has won an MVP or something, then say, okay, But again, I do think Pittsburgh can become a contender in this division, even though they're 10-26. Their Pythagorean record, like they're 3 games under their Pythagorean record. Like they're playing a little unlucky. If that starts to change and the NL Central is the place to do it, I could see a team winning 77 games and winning the NL Central.
Yeah,
So
I see Pittsburgh being a solid contender next year, the way they're building.
yeah, I can see that too. So all right. Let's get to second draft, where last week we were drafting best rotations. This week we're staying with the best bullpen, to kind of clear out the pitching staffs, but we are staying with the same staff for number 1. I took the Angels. And again, I'm basing this off of production and talent. So I have to pull this up quickly, or at least reasonably quickly. But there is no other team that is pitching as well as the Angels right now. They have a 2.09 ERA with their relievers. These are just the relievers. You can see these under team statistics. You go into the splits, reliever, substitution. They're 8-2 with 10 saves. 185 hitters are hitting 185 against them, 254 OBP, and 268 slugging percentage. They're 522 OPS, by far the best in baseball. And they have proven arms. Obviously, they have Ichikawa, who has been phenomenal for a very long time. He's actually not pitching well right now, which tells me they're just going to get better. And that's a little scary. But then they have guys, they have Armando Romero, who's playing really well. William Maine, who is a younger guy who has really been doing well. And what it comes down to, and this is where I'll leave it, but what it comes down to is, again, their pitching staff, like they're experienced, and it's like the right complement of roles, but it's all guys who have high amounts of stuff. Like they all have really good stuff. And in the bullpen, stuff wins. And they're definitely, they've got it.
I agree with you. Angels, hands down, have the best pitching staff, starters and relievers in baseball.
Yeah, I mean they've been phenomenal. I do want to give one shout out to Ryan Nelson, who in his 12 innings has given up 1 hit. It was a home run, but he has struck out 19, walked 4. He's got a .75 ERA, and hitters are hitting just 0.28 against him. And in Dane Ferguson, hitters are hitting 0.83 against him. They have found the right pieces. So, all right, who's your first round pick?
Well, my first round pick, I stayed in Los Angeles and went with the Dodgers. Their pitching staff, their relievers are pitching to a 2.63 ERA. They have I just had them up. They have a 192 batting average against them, 270 on base percentage, and 317 slugging percentage. with their pitching staff, they're going to be in every game that they play in this year.
Oh yeah. I mean, and they've gone through some poor starting pitching, especially at the top with Holtz and Eovaldi. Like Glasnow's pitched great, but their starting pitching is inconsistent. You really have to give it up for somebody like Carson Fulmer, who has reinvented himself in LA. I know him well from time in Philly, where it really seemed like he was going to put it together. And in 2018, like he was really good. And then he got injured and he went down with a torn rotator cuff. It seemed like he was never going to be the same. And he has been phenomenal with the Dodgers so far this year. 18 strikeouts and 18 and 2/3, 7 hits allowed, just a .73 whip. He's been phenomenal. Dennis Moore, the closer, of course, he's been doing it for some time or for a few years now. 0-1 with 14 saves, 1.93 ERA, 1.12 whip there. Robin Townsley is also pitching really well. He's 4-1. Hitters are hitting 211 against him. Andrew Mush, guys are hitting 196 against him. Like they have guys who just know how to get people out, and that's all you can ask for.
Yep, name of the game, right?
Yep. My number 2 pick is maybe the most impactful bullpen in the league this year, and that's the Blue Jays. The Blue Jays aren't in first place. I mean, the Blue Jays probably aren't a winning baseball team without their bullpen. To wit, they are, I'm trying to go back and forth between the team stats and player stats. They're 12-0. They're the only undefeated bullpen in baseball. They're 12-0 with 14 saves. Hitters are hitting 211, 288, 306 against them. They have a 2.17 ERA. And, I'm not really sure how they're doing it. They've somehow only given up 7 home runs while having a ground ball rate of 44.4%. I don't know how they're keeping the ball in this ballpark that they've got, but they're somehow doing it. I mean, they got Pascalino Carosi, who has been a guy who's been a guy for a while, but he has bounced around in different roles. He's in the closer role for the first time since 2021. He's 2-0 with 10 saves, 1.72 ERA. He's a 1.02 whip. They've got Klaus Bongers back, and he has been phenomenal, just a 0.74 ERA. In fact, all their middle relievers, like they only have one guy who's not performing really well, that being Dwight Hansen.
And he's not doing bad.
No, he's not. I mean, he could be better, but I wouldn't say he's doing bad. He's 1.43 whip. I think once you get over like a 1.3, you're not doing well. If you're 1.4, you're doing bad. But he's the only one. Everybody else is crushing it. And so, I mean, to me, they were the no-brainer for number 2. I really probably should have taken him number 1.
The way they're performing, I mean, you wouldn't have been wrong taking them number 1 overall.
No, and when you're throwing James, I mean, James Tate's actually performing well, but like Michael Wacha sucks. Aroldis Chapman's been god awful terrible. When you're throwing those 2 guys every 3 days, and you really don't know what you're going to get out of James Tate, like, Tate's been bad. He's been bad. He has been barely above average, and he's got a whip of 1.46. Like, he's inconsistent. So when you have inconsistency 3 out of your 5 days and you are 23-11, your bullpen has to be the boss bullpen, and they are the boss bullpen right now. No ifs, ands, and buts. Yep. All right, who's your number 2 pick?
My number 2 pick might be a surprise to some people, and that's the Colorado Rockies. They have performed really well this year. I mean, they have Mateo in the closer role, who is 2-1 with 8 saves and 5 holds. a 1.65 ERA, 220 batting average against. In the setup role, they have Hawley, who is 3-0 with 2 saves and 3 holds with a 0.54 ERA and a 161 batting average against. They have one guy like Toronto does, Manuel Reyes, who is not performing well, but his whip is still 1.18. So I took that, especially in that ballpark that they have. Yeah, they're doing well. They're giving up a long ball, but that's about all.
Yeah, I mean, they're pitching to a 622 OPS across 208, 280, 343. Yeah, I talked about this when we talked about them. I think it was last week's show. The the thing that they have in spades on this team is they got ground ball pitchers. Again, we look at, okay, so in their bullpen, they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 guys, 8 guys in their bullpen. All but one of them are ground ball pitchers. All but one. The only one who's not is Edward Cabrera, who is pitching in long relief. He's the only one. Everybody else is extreme ground ball. That's where you got Hirata, Holly, Mann, and Mateo are all extreme ground ball. Manny Reyes, who unfortunately is going to be out for the rest of the year. I didn't even notice this. He's out for a year. I'm guessing it's a rotator cuff of some kind. So I have to find a way to replace him, which is probably why Mateo's in the closer role. No, I guess Mateo's been in the closer role. But they know how to pitch to their ballpark, and that's what makes them so effective. My third pick is Atlanta. It's another impactful bullpen is really the best way to say it. So the Braves are 13-1 with 12 saves. They're pitching to a 631 OPS, holding teams to a 221 average. Only giving up 11 hits. They have their bullpen is the most strikeouts of any bullpen in the National League. I don't know. They're third to Cleveland and Tampa. They have 161 strikeouts. They also limit, self-inflicted errors, like 6 hit by pitches, only 4 wild pitches, but they keep the ball on the ground, which is really the biggest thing. They're pitching to a 54.9 ground ball rate, which again, in a ballpark that is a hitter's ballpark, they know how to keep the ball in the park. And having guys like Abraham Jones, who has pitched really well in his time in Atlanta, he's 0.89 ERA so far, or WHIP so far, 2-0, 3 saves, 1.42 ERA. Nick McCauley, the former Rockies closer, has really pitched well in middle relief for them. James Serrano has pitched really well. The guy who isn't pitching well right now is Tracy Mass.
Yeah.
He's obviously very capable of pitching at an extremely high level, but he's not there yet, which means they can get better.
Right. And Norberto Vargas also is not pitching very well. His ERA is only 3.38, but his whip is 1.59.
Yeah. And they have a more of a bullpen by committee, closer by committee type of thing. So, but they've got Fried and Mass as stoppers, but anybody can close on a given night. And having somebody like McCauley, who has closer experience, that's a big boon for them, I'm sure. And it's paid off really well. Who you got third?
My third pick was the Detroit Tigers. I was going to pull them up again real quick here. I was torn between them and Kansas City for a while. Then I was chatting with you and then you were pointing out some of the stuff, and I didn't even know about this page that you were telling me about, how to look at statistical data from the bullpen by itself. But when I did, you look on there, and they have a 185 batting average against, a 286 on base percentage, and a 296 slugging percentage
Yeah,
with a
the
3.19 ERA.
the 185 opposing average is tied for the best in the league with the Angels.
With the
Um,
Angels. Yep.
yeah, and Detroit with Tewksbury and Groom. I know Groom took the loss last night, but like their guys have pitched extremely well. Who's your favorite guy in that bullpen? Just out of curiosity.
I like Tewksbury, even though that he drives Jim crazy sometimes because he will blow a save here and there.
Wouldn't that be a
But
reason to like him even more?
yeah,
Driving Jim crazy. Yeah, I would think so.
exactly.
Yeah.
That's just the added bonus, right?
Yeah. The one thing that they do get hung up on is they are prone to self-inflicted wounds. They've hit 11 batters. Only Tampa's hit more. In fact, only 3 teams have hit at least 10 batters, San Diego being the other one. But they've hit 11. They've thrown 5 wild pitches. They do give up probably a little bit more home runs than you would want. They've given up 14, but they, obviously, like, and when you pick Kansas City, you can't pick Kansas City and have the caveat of no Addison Reed. You can't do that. Like, it's just, it's just not. Yeah.
Right, but
Like
if you took him out of that bullpen, I know you can't really do that, but just look at the statistics of the other people in that bullpen.
Yeah, but you just, as much as they're trying to take him out of the bullpen in Kansas City, like they can't, you can't take him out of the bullpen. Just can't do
No.
it. No. The one team that I will give a shout out to would be San Francisco. They're holding teams to a 681 OPS. I mean, you could look at Cincinnati as well. But outside of the home runs for San Francisco, they've been really effective as a group bullpen, and have some good building blocks as where there, like Dave Bland. They're actually also getting stuff out of Philippe Armand, who is 34 at this point. He goes back a long way and has a long, rich history of being effective. But they're that's another bullpen I would give a shout out to. Let's go. We have stash sell. We have stash sell. So who are you stashing this week?
Oh, and my computer just froze up.
All right.
I took Spencer Torkelson as my stash sell. Yes. I just think he's getting ready to break out of his problems, and growing pains. As a young player, you expect that to happen. So, I think he'll be just fine. And he gave up a lot. I mean, he took on a couple bad contracts to get Torkelson, and it's going to pay off for him in the long run.
Yeah. Just to go over, he's in 259, 368, 526, 894 OPS. He's got a 154 OPS plus, 9 homers, 20 RBIs. He'll turn 24 in late August of this year. His strikeout, he's got 37 strikeouts, 15 walks. Not bad, especially considering he has already walked as many times in this year in San Francisco as did last year in 10 less games and 35 less plate appearances. That's not bad. One other thing that's got to be really good, if you are a Giants fan, his home road splits, he's been terrible on the road. 133, 278, 400. At home, 393, 469, 661. 4 homers, 13 RBIs. You got to feel really, really good to see him doing that there at whatever the heck they call their ballpark. What do they call their ballpark?
And he's crushing lefties. struggling against righties right now, but I think that'll turn around as he matures.
Yeah. Oh, their ballpark's Oracle. Yeah, Oracle Park. Um, he's been crushing it. So he's been fantastic. Honest to God, I didn't remember who I was keeping, who I'm stashing, but it's Josh Lowe, or Lau. How do you what are you calling it? Low or Lau?
I think it's low, but that's
Okay.
me.
Then we're going with Lowe. Uh, so a young 25. He's only hitting 185, 266, 315. He's got a 60 OPS plus. So why the hell am I stashing him? If you look at his history of what he's done past few years. So last year he had 267, 352, 480 for an 832 OPS and a 134 OPS plus. In 2021 in AAA Louisville in 74 games, he had 284, 342, 439, 784 OPS, 132 OPS plus. And in AA, he had he had an 818 OPS and a 133 OPS plus. He has never had, as a professional, he has never had an OPS plus below 119. If there was an ultimate buy low and stash candidate, it is Josh Lowe because the guy rakes and he's due to break out. I mean, that's, I'm happily buying shares of him for pennies on the dollar. Knowing that he is going to turn it around at some point. Now he has not done that in May. He's only hitting 083 in May. He's 2 for 24. But it's coming.
It's coming, and that's what you want when you're stashing, right? You want to buy low
Yeah.
and recall the profits from it.
Yep. And I've been looking to, like, this week, I was like, I'm looking to see who's really terrible right now. No, Low has been really terrible. But a guy who's got a career 121 OPS plus. I mean, come on. Like, he's not gonna I just can't imagine he's gonna fall off the face of the earth. You have an interesting sell. I didn't see this until just now. And okay, go ahead.
I'm doing the opposite, right? I'm taking somebody who is playing lights out that cannot possibly sustain it that high, and that is Paul Erickson from the Los Angeles Angels. I mean, he's pitched 42.1 innings in his 7 starts and only given up 4 earned runs and only 24 hits. He has a whip of 0.83 and is striking out 9.8 batters per 9 innings, which is a little bit below where he normally is. His bases on balls are pretty equal to where they are, but I just don't see him being able to sustain his ERA and his whip exactly where it is. Last year, his whip was 1.00, but before that, it was in AAA in 2021, it was 1.44, and in 2021 in the majors, it was 1.31. Great pitcher, but I just don't think he can sustain this.
So there are a couple interesting things here. What? Just take a guess. Don't look. What do you think his ERA is on the road?
Probably 0.5.
Okay, that's actually relatively close. He's 2-0 with a 0.38 ERA. He's actually at home in a ballpark that is absolutely catered to somebody like him. He's 2-1 with a 1.47 ERA.
So he's terrible at home, is what you're saying.
Yeah, he's just yeah, he's terrible. He has an ERA plus of 1,095 on the road. That's insane. He's also lights out at night. He has an ERA plus of 1,415 on the road. During the day, he has not been good. He's and so this is the other part that I want to mention that really does make this unsustainable. However, I do think he is somebody who will have like he could challenge for the single season ERA title, single season ERA record. So his BABIP last year was 265. This year it's 218. And that's where I'm like, okay, that's going to come up a bit. But even if he's given up like 240, 250, he's limiting walks. He is limiting the long ball. That was his big culprit last year. He had up 16 home runs. He's only given up 2 so far. He is honestly, he's my favorite pitcher in the league. I tried so many times to get him out of LA and turn him into a starter. Like that was the goal, was make him a starter, because he only started starting games last year. Yeah, I remember like this was a complete shift for him. He was the closer back in 2019, 2020. And he didn't start his first game until 2021. So like you saw it then. But he's definitely my favorite pitcher in the league. I love the guy.
Great pitcher. I have nothing bad to say about him, but he just can't sustain where he is right now.
Yeah,
That's why I'm going to sell him.
Yeah. The guy I'm selling is Tanner Metzger, who is currently not in the Tigers' main lineup. And it's really funny because when you look on their page now, it shows him as on fire. Well, okay, so here's why. He's hitting 455, 514, 758 for a 1.271 OPS and a 243 OPS plus. Look, the Tigers are playing great right now. Playing fantastic. He is the backup catcher. Like he only plays every few days. That output is not sustainable. He's gone hitless in only 2 of his games. He's had multi-hit games. He had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 straight games in which he had at least 2 hits, stretching from the 14th of April through April 28th. His average has come down from 538 to 455. As good as the Tigers are playing, like this is kind of how hot they've been to me. And like Metzger's like the poster child for that. Like when your backup catcher is hitting like that, like you've got it going good. He's the ultimate sell candidate to me. I feel like I have the ultimate buy candidate or stash candidate and the ultimate sell candidate.
There you go. Yeah, there's no way he's going to sustain anywhere near this pace.
No. I mean, he's been a good hitter in as a professional. He has hit. Last year in AAA Toledo, he had a 724 OPS, 276, 325, 399. He had an OPS plus of 101. He's not a 243 OPS plus guy. He's not that guy. So no. So he's definitely my sell candidate. Yeah. Let's get the head-to-head, which I'm really not looking forward to this week, but let's do that. So going back over last week, over-under strikeouts by Gary Copeland last week. The over-under was a 1.5. You took the over, I took the under. He struck out 3 times. He struck out in back-to-back games.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You jinxed him last week. That's what it was.
I think so. His recent history is about the show I jinxed everything. Over under wins by Kansas City last week, 3.5. They were playing Baltimore and Oakland. You took the under, I took the over. They went 2-4. Under over hit by pitches by Brandon Gill. How many times will you hit by a pitch? How many will he have as of yesterday? The over under was 9.5 because he had 8.5 going into the week. We both took the over. He didn't get hit by a pitch. Must have got benched all week. Or wore a disguise or something. Must have wore a disguise or I don't know. Was Venmo?
What was that thing? What was the thing that the guy wore in Major League, the movie?
I don't remember
what he wore.
I don't remember either. The series of the week was Atlanta at Miami. You took the Marlins. I took Atlanta. The Marlins took 2 out of 3 in that series. So you went 3-1, and you're now 13-8 on the season. I had an over. I went 0-4. I'm now 10-11. I'm not liking what I've got this week so far myself either. The first one might already be broken. I have no idea. I'm not looking. I'm refusing to look. Miller Thomas has a 14-game hit streak as of yesterday. Will it last through Friday? Will he get up to 17 games? Now they have 2 games against, I think they're playing Boston. They have 2 games this week and next week, or not this week, next week, today and tomorrow, and another day off. And that's why I'm like, they had a day off yesterday and they have another weird day off on Thursday. And hitting is very much a timing thing. And, not getting the regular bats, having 2 off days in a 4-day span, I think could kind of screw him up. So do you think that hit streak will last through Friday? Do you think he'll get the 17 games?
I said no.
Okay.
I don't think he'll. I had the same philosophy you did.
Yeah, I said no as well. I just don't. I don't see it. Second one, will the Blue Jays have a winning week? They have 2 games in Philly, and then they are home for 3 against the Braves. What do you think?
I said no. I think they'll go 2-3 this week.
Okay. I said yes, and I don't remember why. I think it's because of the Braves starters that they're facing, but honest to God, I don't remember. I really don't remember. I have no idea. Yesterday was a blur. But I took yes. I said yes, even though I don't want them to. I don't want them to. I want them to go 0-5.
Right.
But I think it was because they're at home against Atlanta. I think that's why I ended up going that route. And because they've been really good at home. They've been excellent at home. Third, over under winless starters who have at least 4 games started. Now, as of now, and I took a snapshot because there will probably be some pitchers who qualify for it as of next week, but I'm only looking at the ones who are there now. There are 16 pitchers who have started at least 4 games, and I actually think I upped it to like 5 games, so I'm gonna have to adjust this. But there are 16 who are winless. And I chose the 4 games started or the 5 games started, wherever I did, because I didn't want somebody who's like, oh, they appeared in 2 games. Like that was ridiculous. So the over under is at 10.5. So expecting 5 of these pitchers, or 6 of these pitchers to get their first win this week in order to take the under. What are you taking?
I took the over. I don't think we're going to see 6 pitchers get their first win of the year this week.
Yeah, I'm gonna just pull this up quickly. I'm gonna see if I can. Maybe okay. I did have a screenshot of it. I don't know. It's around somewhere. But I mean, it was a venerable, like, who's who and who cares of pitchers. This is gonna bother me now because I know I have that somewhere. Oh, I know where I have it. So anyway, the series of the week, I'll get to it here in a second, but our series of the week is Seattle at Detroit, which I think is a really good series. I think that's an excellent series. Who do you like in this one?
I'm going to take Seattle.
Go on.
I don't know why. I don't remember why I took Seattle. I mean, they're my division rival, but I'm like you. I just think that they're going to take 2 out of 3 in Detroit this weekend.
See, this is what happens when we draft on a Monday and then don't do the show until Tuesday. I have no idea.
Yeah.
I'm running with the hot hand here. I took Detroit. Detroit, their team stats are looking really good at the moment. They're top quarter in just about everything. And, they're non-run scored. They're 9th in runs scored because they stopped scoring runs against the Guardians last night. They stopped doing that.
Well, they didn't score on Sunday against the Cardinals either. They've scored 2 runs in their last 2 games.
Yeah, I mean, I can expect that against the Cardinals. Cardinals have excellent pitching staff, but the one thing they are doing is they're playing defense. They're limiting their second in defensive efficiency, first in zone rating, second in errors. And when you're doing that, your pitching staff benefits, you're not beating yourself. And we're seeing that especially, um, with their bullpen. They're pretty much that they are legit in the pitching staff. Like they're fourth in stars ERA, sixth in bullpen ERA, they're fifth in FIP. And then you look at their their stats. I think the reason why they're not ninth or why they're ninth in runs scored is because their home runs are down. They're 10th in tied for 10th in home runs. Like they're performing, but they're just not getting, you know, the big hits that are getting more guys home. So I took the Tigers. I I like the Tigers on this one. Um, yeah. So we'll see how that shakes out. Scott, do you have any final words for today?
No, just looking forward to see what's going to happen this week, and I'm really enjoying like I said before, the parity and more teams being around the wild card spots. I think that's going to make it for an interesting trade deadline coming up.
Yeah. Take a quick guess. What do you think the runtime of this episode is?
59 minutes.
Oh, you think we got under the hour? Okay, well then I'm
I
gonna.
do.
Okay, well let's see if that happens. So thank you for listening. Episode 7, Rough Draft. For Scott, I'm Comey. Have a wonderful whenever it is, wherever you are.